Hey, Podcast America. Welcome to episode, is this 58? 57?
We're getting up there.
I think
we're closer to 60 than 50.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah.
Of the Enlightened Neanderthals podcast. And before we get into show notes, we'll talk about my own company, Training Northwest, which you can find at trainingnorthwestllc.com. The Rifleman Camp only has 4 spots left. And I'm happy to say we've got a bunch of return customers and also some father-son combos coming out for the first time, both of which are a really nice compliment to the fact that I think we're running a good program out there. Otherwise, why would people return and why would they bring their kids? Yeah,
you're doing good. Keep going.
The schedule is, sorry, go ahead.
No, also the your other classes have been going pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was booked solid almost every Saturday through the winter with private groups. And I've intentionally cleared out a little bit of time this summer just to make sure I have time with my kids and go do fun stuff.
Yeah.
But we're still booking private groups through the summer. Dates just sort of depending. It's one of those things you got to get a hold of me, trainingnorthwest@protonmail.com, and we can kind of hash it out from there. But other than the Rifleman Camp coming up in August, I have class in September and October, and that's pretty much it for the year. So, go check it out. Give us a follow on...
Did you say you have Rifleman Camp spots left?
I have 4 left.
You have 4 left.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I feel pretty good that those will sell. So if that's something you're interested in, get on it.
Yeah.
Admin note to basically any of that. It's an election year. You should probably, whether or not you're going to go to this class, buy some ammo now, just in case.
Yeah. Buy everything. Food, water, shelter, safety.
Anyway. Jiu-Jitsu. Pantheon of podcasts.
Codcasts?
Codcast, dude.
Codcast?
COD, dude.
Like cod liver oil?
COD as in Call of Duty, because today is the Memorial Day.
Oh. Look at our guy getting deep over here.
All right. Our man Tyler.
Yeah.
Compassionate Viking, which you can get a hold of him at compassionatevikingpodcast@gmail.com. And I wanted to plug that one because, again, this is the intro, so not again. We're going back to the future. I participated in one of Tyler's ceremonies as an assistant for the first time a couple weekends ago, and I really believe in what we're doing out there. We're in a time when American society is chock full of mental health issues. He's making a difference. So if that's something that you're interested in a shamanic ceremony, you can get a hold of him at that email address.
Stones and bones, baby. Mm-hmm. Patriotic Islander, will no tell. My people, listen to the pod. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Come on, y'all. It's podcast time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Christy Campbell and Coffee Talk.
Danny Leyland, White Belt Mafia.
The Grand Poobah. Greg Anderson. The Endless Endeavor, folks.
That was all 5, right?
He took that name from us.
Yeah.
He said, hey, if you started a podcast, what would you call it? And we said,
we're like, Endless Endeavor, dude. Like, what kind of question is that, dude?
We already got this sweet logo. Check it out. And fucking next thing you know.
Has an X and everything on it.
Look at this picture I took in the clouds. Yeah, that son of a bitch took it all.
Whatever.
But here we are now.
All right, so we're recording this on Memorial Day, and Mike had the idea to talk about Memorial Day.
PTSD, I feel like, is mainly, but just what that means of war.
Yeah.
It was a weird subject.
We got into the weeds. We stayed on topic and we stayed off topic.
Yeah.
Like
you want. Yeah.
It's
a classic endless endeavor.
Tobin just got confused saying the intro. Dude, his eyebrows were
I'm just looking around. I'm looking around at the beer can carnage and thinking it wasn't that damaging of a night. The mountains were blue.
Say, we're doing better, guys. We're not drinking so much beer here it's unreasonable. Okay.
What do you think the count is for Brent with your swearing? Do you
This
think he can
podcast?
Do you think he can share
I didn't hear a
it
lot
to
of
his
F-bombs.
congregation?
No. This is a sub 10 for sure.
Yeah, I don't
Under 10 Fs?
I think it was under 10.
under 10. No, I didn't under 5 maybe. I don't think there was a lot of cussing.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking guys.
Shit is wild.
Enjoy the episode, you fuckers.
Yeah.
At some point, right? Like
I have a thought on this, which I think that people were more spiritual back then. I think that the loss of spirituality is something that modern society has created. And sort of my own experiences just these last couple of years with PTSD and with spirituality and sort of coming to terms with all the things is that what the American military really lacks, and I guess maybe Western militaries, excuse me, is the coming home process from war. And so I think that in past times where people were more connected, A, community-wise, and B, spiritual-wise, I think they made more of a ceremony or ordeal of bringing the warriors home. And so in one of the ayahuasca ceremonies I did, I had like it wasn't a vision. You don't see things, but like this very vivid end vision of there was some like chanting music playing, and I could hear the men like chanting, hey, whatever. And I could see like we're all sitting in a circle around a fire, and all the old men of the tribe were singing their chant, and all the young warriors who had just come home are just sitting around the circle. And the grandmothers were kind of circling around behind us, like rubbing our backs or giving us a hug or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, this is what people used to do. You used to welcome the warriors home from the battle.
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore. You get on a plane, you fly back to
Well,
America.
Vietnam was the first of that war in this nation, it seems like, right? Like Korea War, World War II, you were heroes. Korean War, it's like, yeah, that was fucked, and I don't know really why we're there. But then you fought. But then
even
Vietnam,
World War II, people would be slapping you on the back, but it was sort of like, all right, hey, welcome back, go get a job.
Yeah.
Yes, but
And
you were still
people would see you
celebrated.
around town and maybe shake your hand and slap you on the back, but there
Some
was
people
no.
would.
But that's better than being spit on and
Oh,
called
it
a
is
baby
yeah,
killer
100%,
than Vietnam.
100%. But I think even earlier than that, we lost sort of this notion of you're putting this huge burden onto people mentally when you ask them to go off and fight in these battles.
Fuck yeah.
And so in order to sort of alleviate them of that, it's almost like the entire community would gather and alleviate that stress by taking accepting some of it upon themselves and sort of helping dissipate it, right? Because they're saying, hey, you went and fought for the safety of our community. We didn't used to go fight for empire. That's another problem too, is that we're off fighting for it. Like it's very obvious that we weren't in Iraq for WMD or to stop Osama bin Laden because he wasn't there.
Wait,
These are wars of empire for monetary gain.
Yeah.
And so in the past, again, the entire community is thankful if the warriors are off fighting for the safety of the tribe or for the village or whatever.
True
and so
democracy.
Exactly. So it's there, and then there's probably more of a spiritual connection. So they understand the importance of bringing the warriors back, welcoming them back into the community. And then you, as the man who went out and fought, if you are carrying heavy memories, at least you know it was for the safety of my fucking women and kids, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I can't say that. I can't say that I went and fought in Iraq for the safety of American women and children.
There hasn't been another 9/11.
How far? So how far, like the Roman Empire that you were talking about, like how far would they travel? Like from wherever
All the way up into Northern Ireland and Scotland. Yeah, to-
almost.
So-
those
and they're doing that
areas,
by
and
foot.
then
Yeah.
what they
So
made
that's-
it to what, Africa,
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's
and then what, Asia, Russia?
How far
area?
east into Asia? Alexander made it to Afghanistan, but I don't think the Romans made it that far. I don't think the Romans made
He
it past
didn't even
Persia.
really make it to Afghanistan. I mean, like his whole party died.
Yeah, they all died. But
Is
they
that
got
called
there.
making
They got there
it?
and then they died.
He didn't make it.
but I'm
He
Graveyard
died
of
on a road
Empires.
trip. Yeah.
as far as like the PTSD.
So he died
Like-
on a road trip.
He didn't make it. No one returned. All
that-
those elephants.
Well, I mean, was that a thing where people making it back and returning?
Oh,
like
yeah,
so-
absolutely.
So
you could fight a 20-year career as a Roman centurion, always in the northlands of Europe.
Yeah.
And these stories, these guys who dream of returning home to Rome, to their fields and their wives and their kids one day, because they've literally been away from home for 15 or 20 years up in northern Europe.
But those same wars are just being, if it's a 20-year war, that thing's being fought for the name of your emperor, for the money or the goods of that territory. There isn't really
the
any
Romans were
difference.
100% fighting for empire.
Yes. But I mean, there wasn't any difference. But there were celebrations I remember hearing, like when soldiers would, and this is you raise an interesting thing in my head, because it's like, okay, so you fight all this time somewhere and then you come back. And when you come back, there's parades. You're accepted back into your community. You're re-immersed in the reason you had to be so violent.
Well, can I stop you for a second? Like, because in those, every time I've heard you guys talk about coming home, it was you get done with your deployment, you get on a plane, you fly back, you have like a day, and then you go do a debriefing, and then you basically pack up some shit and go home.
No, not even that good. It was, you would fly home, you would get back to like the battalion area, and actually it wasn't good. It was the best they could do within the system. There was one time that the battalion commander and the sergeant major had flown home ahead of the battalion, and we were all like, what the fuck, dude? That normally they go last. And but when we got home, they had the staff of Seattle Hooters there with like a barbecue, fucking beer kegs all set up. Like, all right, I guess Thanks for flying home 3 days early. Yeah.
We got the best ones we could find.
USA, baby. Yeah.
And as awesome as that was, that still is not the correct way to reintegrate everybody back.
It was a shot.
Do you remember on the Peleliu book, when they came back from Peleliu and then went...
Let me finish real quick. Is what the American military does now today is you get back to your unit, wherever it's stationed, whatever base, and you usually have just an outbrief where they basically threaten you with all the punishment they will give you if you get in trouble. And then they're like, all right, now you're on a 3-day pass, which isn't quite long enough to go home. So what everybody does is just goes into town and gets drunk for 3 days. And again, it's like the worst way to re-enter everybody into society.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why there's PTSD and divorce and mental health issues within the armed services and whatnot. It's like, because they don't care. And then it just sort of leads to sort of like, the realization that it's a machine for profit. The war machine is a machine for profit. They don't give you've served your purpose when you've come home, and you're only of value if you're going back out on another deployment. The moment you say I'm hanging up my spurs and staying in, it's like, yeah, all right, see ya. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's no more. And there's some sort of token measures, like whatever, people put little flags in their yard on Memorial Day, which today is, which we should probably introduce this episode. We sort of jumped straight into it. Yeah, we've got a little Memorial Day themed episode we're working on here right now. But it's little more than like, what does that actually do for veterans if you hang a flag in your front yard on Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Well, it's an overall thing. Like if there's a huge sense of pride and everyone's hanging flags in their yard, and then they're also doing like community barbecues, and it's like,
and I like that shit. I don't. Some people are like, dude, you shouldn't party. This isn't about you and your 3-day weekend. Like, no, enjoy it.
But hanging the veterans flag is just the least amount of effort.
And that's kind of what our society is collapsed to is token efforts, right? Like how many of these people with Ukrainian bumper stickers on their cars would be willing to go fight on the fucking steps?
Yeah.
None.
And that's kind of, I remember after, I was in 5th grade, right? So I remember the amount of American flags on every single car. Just it's like everybody had an American flag, and there was something patriotic that was happening.
There was a feeling. In the air.
To get to that, 9/11,
and to get that back, I think would help a little bit, and maybe the healing, because I think people at that point had like this positive look at the military, and it was like we're doing this, like fuck those bastard, you know what I mean? It's Toby Keith. You know what I mean? Right. Like, but everybody had like this feeling of like this is the right thing to do.
Yes.
A lot of people, and even the people who weren't like down on the military guys, like the men and women that were going over there to do it, right?
But we had a common enemy.
We did,
like,
and that's
just like
that's the thing, right? We were tricked into that thought process of this is a common enemy versus going over there for money, which maybe it turned out to be, right? Yeah. But as you were going over there, that was the thought, like, you know, and then it lasted so long that that feeling kind of dwindled out.
Yeah. I don't know how accurate this is. I heard the other day that less than 1% of the U.S. population serves in the military, and less than 3% of the U.S. politician know directly someone who served. So it really only touches a very small percent of our population, even though it was a 20-year war. Mm-hmm. So at some point you come home from, God, I think I did like 14 rotations all told between 2nd Ranger Battalion and GRS. And you'd sort of like, I'd fly back into SeaTac and just walk off the plane, go to the baggage terminal. And it's like, literally 36 hours ago, I'm in Baghdad or fucking Islamabad or wherever. And now I'm standing at SeaTac and everything's like I'd never left. You know what I mean? It was just sort of surreal.
Yeah. Like I would imagine that feeling of like the lack of climax to that would just, you know, it's just trying to get that nut, dude.
Do you
never
think...
can get it. But what I was talking about as far as like when the Romans or wars, like Mike was saying, way back in the day they were fought and you had to get on your horse or walk to these locations to fight. And then
if you had a lot of money, you sit in one of those chairs that the guys hold up on their shoulder, you know?
Oh shit.
Yeah. You get like
that,
8
the
guys
Persian
to hold
guy
on.
And
Yeah.
Well, would you go to the war and fight at that point, or would you just kind of watch?
I think you go to watch.
You watch on a hill.
It's like going to watch the Super Bowl.
You just point.
Yeah.
Say they should have gone that way. They got massacred.
Where's my Hooter girls?
But you think that there is something to that, like, oh, we have to walk, we have to turn around, and we have 6 months. We have to walk back.
Oh yeah, we better beat their ass, because if we don't, they're going to be nipping at our heels the entire time.
Yeah. So it's like you get that and then you turn around and you like, okay, we won. Yeah. Okay. And then you turn around and you start walking back. And then at that point,
I think it's the opposite. I think you keep going forward and conquering more land.
I think
maybe, the only congratulations.
I think you're hitting a good point, Jordan. That walk back is therapy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. That's for
As
you and your boys to decompress and to talk about.
Okay, you're saying you'd have weeks of sitting around campfires.
You'd have months.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
Of talking about what happened and reminiscing, and then talking about what you're looking forward to, and having time with the people who actually experienced it, as opposed to getting on a fucking plane, landing in SeaTac, and then like
you're out
grabbing your bag.
Good luck.
You know what I mean? Like that to me seems like a lot more of a therapeutic way to go through things, or, you know, I don't want to say decommission yourself, but like, you know,
calm down and work through what happened.
Yeah, because you get heightened, everybody's riled up together, and then you're
exactly.
down together.
Decompression happens all together, and you get a chance to sort of reflect and bounce everything off each other. Yeah, I bet you're absolutely right.
So,
but like I was saying earlier too, I kind of brought up the question: do you think war of the past doesn't create like PTSD stress in the same way? Does seeing people get killed, I mean, I'm sure it's hard either way, but seeing a bunch of people get blown up with a bomb or something horrific compared to watching an arrow go through someone and they slowly die. Yeah. Like they're both.
I doubt either one is enjoyable. I can't imagine fighting it close, like even knife fighting, like,
is that worse, you think?
It terrifies me.
Someone?
The idea of, these guys are all into like knife fighting and shit. And it's like, dude, what do you, even if you win, aren't you going to get sliced up? That
was a big thing with Nazis.
Knife fighting?
Yeah, that's why they all had those scars. So many of them had
was that from fencing though?
No, it was dual. I mean, maybe they did some fencing, but they
put horsehair in it to make the scar more pronounced. So it wouldn't heal,
it was like a point of pride.
Yeah, but knife fighting, they did it big time. Yeah.
See that right there, boys?
Yeah. Zika. Zafir.
It was cat's hair I put in it.
Gross.
Allergic reaction. Why it's all bumpy like that.
Every time he pushes on it now, it makes him sneeze.
Yeah. It smells funny. I just think that would be going back to what we were talking about, getting out of there. I think that would be useful. But I don't think that would be and again, I didn't go to war, so I can't even, all I can imagine is when I see like Highlander or I see, William Wallace, and they're all like lined up, and it's like, okay, there they are. There's 10,000 guys across this, this field, and we're about to go just run at them with our sharpened fucking
hatchets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ready? Okay, let's go. And then you just get into it, like until the last one standing.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, oh shit, those are archers. Oh no. And then you just getting rained down on, like, how crazy would that be? But then the other side of that is now you're in modern war and you're having.
Imagine explaining to those guys, just trying to explain the concept of a fighter jet to them.
Well, that's what I mean.
And having another fighter jet locked onto you with an air-to-air missile.
Somebody you can't see.
Yeah.
And it's just, or now a freaking, they're going to have these little remote control helicopter things, these drones, and they're going to be dropping cannonballs from the sky.
Or even just like a pillbox on a ridge, and you and your boys are trying to advance somewhere, and your whole team gets shot instantly.
What's a pillbox?
A pillbox
concrete
is
bunker.
Oh, okay. I was
a little
like,
fortification for shooting.
Okay, copy.
But, I mean, normally hand-to-hand combat, like you're saying, we're all getting riled up. There's 10,000 guys. Here's 10,000 guys. If you're in hand-to-hand combat, something isn't just going to come out of nowhere and wing it away. You're going to physically see what happens. Like, if I kind of think about warfare today, fear is such a big thing because you don't know where things are coming from.
Yeah.
The ability to cover distances and shoot long ranges, I think that might instill a different part of fear than normal traditional combat has ever had since post Revolutionary War.
I imagine back in those times, everybody out there was a predator, and it was just whatever predator wins this fight. And
trying
now,
to catch them.
Yeah, and now, yeah, come sit down with me. And now it's like you're a predator, but then you also have this deer-like response of like, when's this fucking thing going off? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So you have to sneak through everything, just going fuck. So you're not only I have to be ready to fucking go at it, but now I'm also like constantly wondering and watching my back and like worrying about a fucking drone above me or. Like whatever sniper hill or, and you're just hoping everybody has good intel. You know what I mean? Like that to me would be fucking terrifying as opposed to being able to stand up and say, yeah, those guys are about 150 yards away. Let's go fuck them up.
Yeah.
So
100%. Like there were times, especially again, working for the agency in Iraq where you have we're basically working in a defensive capacity. And a lot of times I can remember thinking to myself, like, fuck, I wish someone would just shoot at us so we could identify their location.
Start shooting back.
Yeah, exactly. Or figure out our break contact plan. Yeah. One or the other. What I hate, the anticipation of not knowing when, like every piece of trash, a dead dog, a broke down car, a tire, anything could be an IED. You had no idea what was safe and what was rigged to blow. So I think that would really... No, I don't think it would. I think it did really wear on our nervous systems.
Well, it was either in the book Warhouse or Killing Field. Stupid like what technology wants, but just statistical books about war. And in World War II, the biggest failure for bombs not hitting their target was fear in World War II. Pilots would be bomber pilots.
Oh, they wouldn't want to go over the flak fields.
Yes. Yeah. Even though they were safe and they knew it and they drilled, fear was the biggest thing. That unknown of maybe a hot shell or a hot load coming higher than most and taking out my plane. So I'll dump my load early and peel off and go home. Yeah. And fear, the amount of fear that's heightened on a battlefield of today than some archers and a guy on a horse has to be exponentially harder. Just as much as technology compounds, that has to build on our emotional systems. Like our warfare is compounding. The warrior of today goes through much more stress, explosions, people coming from the dark, planes, drones, tanks, things you cannot even understand.
Yeah.
Like our biology hasn't caught up to our technology,
Yeah.
and that the warrior spirit's getting crushed, boys.
Yes, dude. And from a from an infantryman's standpoint, the drones are terrifying.
Yeah.
Because everything you used to use to hide behind, now you can't, because it's just a little battery powered thing that
Yeah,
you
you
can't
gotta be
hardly
looking
hit
up
with
the whole
a
time.
rifle. Yeah, exactly. You don't see them coming half the time, and they don't care because they're not alive, right? You can just send 3 of them, right? Maybe you shoot one down.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
That's why, like, in the war of today, it's kind of crazy to think, like, skeet shooting and shotguns are going to be kind of important.
I think that's at too close of a range. They're going to have to come up with some sort of electronic, like little mini EMP.
Railgun, baby.
They have, like, some sort of a railgun that they were
Do they
running,
really?
but I thought, like, a lot of the people over there were, like, employing, like
I think there's
duck
also a
hunting,
lot of
fucking-
frequency jamming going on as well.
That-
Just to
that might
jam
be.
the
Yeah.
uplink,
It's like-
the uplink downlink between the remote and
If you can kill
drone
the
itself.
antenna and it just drops for a couple hundred feet.
But I mean, they're still going to be having some sort of a
Oh, yes.
fucking.
Some will still get through, and I wonder how long until it's here that human versus human warfare is quickly becoming obsolete.
Good. I don't want to join.
I don't. I think.
I don't know if that's good or not, because
I think it's
if
not
we're
good.
The robots are
we're
worse.
developing robot
Yeah.
weapons that are autonomous at the same time we're developing AI, and we're not really sure how that's going to go.
And-
we have Terminator, and that came out in like 96.
But I think
It's like,
We know this.
you can see how it would turn into Skynet, right?
Skynet's
that's a
coming.
scary, scary, scary thought, dude. Your
Well-
fucking Roomba's coming for you. Like, get out.
Well, think of the PTSD you would have fighting a robot future war. Like, I kind of this is all over the place, but I started this because I was thinking about, like, there's all these things in the news about D-Day coming up, and it's Memorial Day, and to recognize. And it's like, well, what other giant wars do we have? And it was like, well, World War I was pretty epic. And you look at the amount. The first time I ever really heard of these things was really World War I was shell shock. The term shell shock, and they thought it was from loud explosions in the trenches causing people's central nervous system to just get.
They were basically right. Yeah,
They were right,
you're
but it was a
establishing,
lot more than that too.
brain- or, what do they call
It was stacks of
TBI.
bodies. It was the
Smells.
elements. It was constant rain and water, and your loved ones getting killed around you. Your brothers in arms dying constantly.
Well, and the living conditions were so abysmal that the troops could never. There was never a way to find like a moment's comfort. It was like living in a house of horrors.
Yeah.
Right, because you're stuck at least ankle deep on a good day in mud, and then the
Which means
trenches
you're
were
gonna
so
be
stacked with bodies that really
surrounded
you're
by
standing on
flies and
rib cages
fucking-
and standing in chest cavities and arms and legs sticking. You know what I mean? It was a hellscape.
But technology put you in that shitty situation because war of the past would have been
It had
a
just
bunch of
caught
guys
up,
on
yeah.
horses here.
Machine war
and
had
a
caught
bun-
up to horseback
Yeah.
riders. Yeah.
And so technology's forcing you to go in that mud and to endure psychologically and to be in the worst of the worst conditions. As technology accrues,
Are the drones? Well, actually, look at what's
Yeah.
happening in Ukraine. The
That-
drones
yes.
are forcing people back into trenches.
Yes.
Holy fuck! Way to go, Mike.
Yeah.
I like that insight.
yeah, because Civil War didn't have that.
Yeah.
Wars before that, but as the warfare changes due to technology, it forces it to be
Right.
more harsh.
And then the Blitzkrieg figured out how to make the trench obsolete, but now we have a new weapon that has made the trench necessary again.
Yeah,
Damn. Now you got people back to tunneling like rats.
Bello.
Buy a shovel.
Trenching tool. Yeah.
Oh man, need a big ass ditch witch.
Yeah, dude. Like that freaks me out so much to think like if say a civil war broke out here, the technology that would come would be so fucking crazy. And the crazy part is like, I mean, Russia is not a third world country by any means, but I think that we have a lot more access to shit here currently. And I mean currently, because I don't know how long that's going to last, but everybody has a drone. You know what I mean? Like something weird starts happening, everybody can go get a drone
Yeah.
if they're, available, right? And like somebody's can start just manufacturing this stuff.
Amazon shuts down during the Civil War. God damn it!
What am I to do?
Fucking drones.
What am I to do? No, I mean, look at it. Like you go to any Best Buy or Costco, or you can go pick up a drone, a pallet of drones at Costco. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just it's crazy to think that is a technology that is being used. That is
very well in Ukraine at the moment. Yeah. And the more sophisticated those drones get, I mean, you look at the drones that fly that the military has. Mm-hmm. It's like they got missiles and bunker busters and
they got
napalm, you name it.
Manners of shit.
Yeah.
Does warfare become obsolete when it's robot versus robot? Or
that's what I mean. We can
will it
chill.
be like robots attacking civilian populations, or what?
I hope it's robot on robot.
It's
my
Because
favorite
then who
porn.
gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, is it just about who has more money to buy robots until all the robots on one side are dead?
It's always
just like
funding,
BattleBots.
Funding, but then it's technological.
It'd be way
war.
cooler if they did it BattleBot style.
You know,
like a chop saw.
You just go, all right, guys, all right. We're gonna make an arena the size of a 1 mile arena.
You know,
we're gonna have BattleBots. Your best BattleBot against our best BattleBot. Just like they did with Hercules. And they're just like one.
Who's that guy that sings that song, Party, 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 Party?
Oh,
he now hosts, or he hosted
sing it
Party, 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 Party. Dude. You don't know?
I think you're thinking Andrew WK.
Andrew WK, yeah.
I want to party now.
I want to party, party, party. Yeah.
You know what? We're going to have to.
Are there more words than just party,
I don't
party,
think
party,
so.
party?
But he hosted BattleBots for a while.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Party, party.
Yeah.
That's like Marky Marker will always be feel it, dude.
No, we need a T-shirt with Mike's face on it. This is party, party,
Party. Anyway.
Shit. All right. Now I've lost my train of thought.
Do you think, because I think this is maybe a little true, we're in a weird time where technology really does dictate what war is. For so long throughout history, war was just fighting people with clubs or rocks. And then as technology increased, well, now a hatchet is a form of technology. Yeah. And now a bow and arrow is state-of-the-art technology. Yeah, it's computer. Cutting edge. But we're at this point where technology and warfare have kind of like, war has been on this plane forever, and it's been this one thing. But within the last 200 years, and especially the last 80 years, war really, really changed. Do you think as we continue going on, what we talk about as war for Memorial Day and these veterans and what people go through, like you're saying, what are the platforms of like robots? Do you think it's a constant race? You were saying money, whoever has the most money to fund robots wins the war, or is it like a World War II where it's like...
I think we're actually already in like a form of warfare, like a financial and also cyber warfare as we speak, with all the other major world players. And what I mean, like the United States is trying to hang on to its supremacy with the US dollar as the international exchange unit, right? And then now you have a challenger, the BRICS, who are starting to say, hey, we don't want to use the US dollar. We want the Chinese yen to become the new petrodollar.
Yeah.
And then you also have you like if you look at countries, everybody listening should Google me right on this one, or do your own fact checking on this one.
Do your own research.
Because I think of the Arab countries we invaded under the global war on terror in the North African countries, most of them did not want to have a system of a central bank. Like Gaddafi, for example, I know was going to stop using the U.S. dollar. Saddam Hussein had threatened to stop using the U.S. dollar, and that sort of and it's no different than what like the British were doing when their empire was huge. Yeah. They're forcing everybody to use their unit of exchange, and that gives them all the power. So it's not a new trick, but it shows that we're always at some sort of like financial warfare. And think of all the countries in Africa that are resource rich but dirt ass poor.
All of them.
Why? Because the major world powers have sort of held them down with like not dishonest, but
fiscal
dishonorable contracts.
Yes. Except China's
But they've learned.
boosting them.
I was
right
just
now.
going to say, now they've learned, right?
China's boosting
Yes.
them.
And so China's playing the other side of that, which is, I hate to say it, the good leadership side, which I doubt they're treating them well, but at the same time, they're adding value to
They're giving ability for commerce to build their area and their citizens up. Yes.
Well, that's.
And then I also think we've long been in an information cyber war with China, as they are bolstering their economy by stealing intellectual knowledge from United States, like research and development.
That's why Trump
companies.
put tariffs on them. They steal everything.
Sorry. And that was the end of that thought. Sorry, Jordan.
Well, no, I mean that's because it's because he's racist. I forgot where I was going to go, but I don't know. What do you got, Mike?
We're talking about development of weapons away from the human soldier into the drone warfare and what warfare is going to look like. And at the same time, you have the Chinese are encircling encircling Taiwan in a quote unquote military exercise, but that's very much physical kinetic warfare.
Because this is the time it's going to happen. Well, in the Sea of Taiwan in China, this is the time of year when you can land troops.
We were talking about gold and silver before the podcast started, and then you kind of look on that and you go, well, that's still going to be valuable.
I don't know. I guess my reason why I started exchanging for silver is I definitely don't think American cash is going to be valuable. And so even if the dollar rebounds, you can still trade your silver back in. Like silver is going to hold for whatever reason. So I guess because it's a strong electrical conductor, silver holds its value. And so silver stays even no matter what happens with the stock market or the
there are high level like computer boards or whatever that need to have silver.
But why were those metals sought after back in the day? Just because they're shiny and lustrous? No. I mean, electrical conductivity.
I refuse. Like this is how programmed we are by the public school, is that everybody in the United States accepts that explorers used to cross the Pacific Ocean on wooden ships, eating fucking hardtack and maggots, and having awful diseases and losing men at sea and crashing at sea, just so that they could bring home baubles to hang from their ears and noses. Because gold was so valuable to adorn themselves with. There's no like, Mike, if I told you, hey, I'm going to send you across this ocean, there's a 60% chance you don't make it back, but I want some jewelry. You'd be like, fuck you. What do you need jewelry for?
There's a sweet ass set of pants over there.
Yeah.
You tell me it's the best tie stick and all the
vintage Air Jordans, brother.
Full anchor, boys. We're going.
There's no fucking way people were going to the lengths they were going to. Fighting war. You know what I mean? Like massacring tribes to gain their, and why were those tribes hoarding gold in the first place? So
do you think there was a group of people?
Why was it universal across the entire globe that people were hoarding gold?
Yeah.
If American society and South American society, European and South American society had never interacted with each other, why were the Spanish after gold and why were the Incas hoarding gold?
But the North America, that's what I mean. Is it because there's something else behind it, or because it's shiny and unique and can be malleable and made as you're starting to learn metals and stuff?
We could make earrings out of this.
Yeah, but like North American Indians, wampum, which just means shell, is what was valuable to them. And they just traded.
But they used, it wasn't valuable to them. They had an agreement. Like a social agreement.
They put value on it.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, they had a social agreement to exchange it as a unit of value, which is the same thing the dollar is. It was a monetary system.
Yes, but no.
It's only agreed upon. It's only when a group of people agree that, like, if I pull a $20 bill out of my pocket, it actually has no value. It's just a piece of paper. You can't barely even light a fire with it. We have agreed that we will assign a value of 20 units to it, which correspond to our labor and time.
We haven't agreed, but our overlords have agreed. That's why when you counterfeit something...
We've agreed to play along.
But why the dollar... What book was it? Anyways, why the dollar has value, or like Roman coins back in the day. If you were caught counterfeiting, there was a huge penalty on it. Because what you're doing is you're saying... you're taking the value of this land.
Yeah,
of
only
like
only the
Roman
Federal
Empire.
Reserve is allowed to print more money and inflate more shit into the
counter-
system.
counterfeit it.
Counterfeiters.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it's all counterfeit. Be honest.
But I think there is a little bit of extra value put into something saying, hey, I have a club. Like if I have a piece of gold that's just gold, and then I have a nugget that's stamped with an Electric North crest on it, dude, for us in that circle, that little crested
Listen, I
piece
have
of
some
gold
silver
would be-
coins. Some have a bison stamped on them. Others have an Aztec, like, I don't know what you call it. It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
But I think it does give a little extra, because it also means if I don't know you and you don't know me, but we have this same piece with the same stamp on it, we both abide by the same inherent
social contract.
morals, rules,
John Wick.
ideas.
No, it's not even that. We might fucking stab each other in the back alley, but
We might.
But we both agree to the social contract
Yeah.
that says this little piece of whatever, lead, zinc, whatever, is worth X number of time labor units.
Yeah.
Well, and get the figure, you don't even have to agree with it, but there are people who do, which make it valuable. So, like, when that comes
but that's
to
a
be the
huge
thing,
community is
but
what
that's,
that
but
just
that's
means.
what the world is, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're so far along in this world to think that gold and silver aren't a hot commodity, and it's never going to not go away until you are in a situation where you'd rather have a tool than something like that.
Yeah, the old wheelbarrow of cash, or burn the cash, the wheelbarrow has value.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like we're not in those times, and nobody alive has ever been in those times.
But it's also telling, or not telling, but
Or nobody alive in our.
it's becoming obvious how fragile the system is, because, like I said, it's a social agreement, and the moment people stop agreeing, the system crashes. Which is why I think the empire fights at great lengths to protect its system. Right, the BRICS is a direct challenge to that agree. Like if the Saudis go, well, actually we disagree that the U.S. dollar has value. We now think it's the Chinese yen is stronger, so that's what we'll accept for oil. Sorry, you're fucked. And it's just like Tyler said on the last episode we did with him, where he's like, actually, he didn't tell us to this. He told me this out of the fire. He makes all his, like, he forges stuff and he makes stuff and he sells it. And he says, there's some items I don't sell for money. And he smiles and he goes, so all the millionaires are fucked. So they can't have this. They can't afford it. I only barter these for goods and services that I approve of.
But
And
doesn't
that's when someone stops honoring the social agreement that the U.S. dollar is king.
Yeah.
It's so, like,
But
it would not be hard to topple the system.
doesn't that also reinforce what I say? Like if we have two people and if like think back in the day and we just meet on like in the middle of the woods and it's like, who are you? Who are you? And it's like, I'm thirsty. And the other guy's like, I'm hungry. It's like, I've got some meat. He's got some water. What do we trade? And you both have a stamp with the same fucking face on it. Well, it's like, maybe it does mean we kind of have these morals and these ideas and these thoughts of what we think is a better way to, like, we all belong to this community. Maybe part of it, like those groups changing to the yen is like, look at these fat, lazy pussies, entitled, asking, think they control everything and don't put any effort into it. Isn't that the same thing? Those people, like the Saudis wanting them to trade to the yen instead of the American petrodollar, like, isn't that kind of reinforcing who you think morally is more
Not
just?
just morally, but competency.
Yes.
So when you're an outsider looking at the United States and what this country is becoming, again, your trust in that social contract, you're going, wait a minute, these people don't seem strong anymore. They don't seem resilient. They don't seem like they have their act together. How much trust do I have in this little piece of paper that says good for $1 exchange, United States currency?
Yeah.
How much trust do I have in that?
Well, Japanese had the same idea, and we proved them wrong. They thought they could kill us because we're all weak, and what happened? We dropped 2 flash bulbs on you. Sorry, Japan. Happy Memorial Day. Oh, my God, that's horrible. Came in hot real quick, sorry.
Yeah, good.
That's Mike Kozak Creations at...
Yeah. Good. Well said.
Yeah. But they thought we were lazy. That was a huge part why Pearl Harbor happened, was the Japanese are like, have you seen the videos of these fat, lazy fucks and everyone has cufflinks, even 7-year-olds going to school in their pants? They're like, dude, they're all soft. They don't endure. They're all weak. They're all fat. And they all need coddling. And they're like, we're going to kill them all.
I think
It's
Admiral
like that
Yamamoto
video.
actually took a drive. That was
No.
Stop. That was based on a cultural
shut your mouth.
Not their generals.
It was Admiral Yamamoto
Yeah,
took
yes.
a train ship across the United States, and he warned the emperor that if you attack the United States, you will
Yes.
wake a dragon. So he
All
knew.
of their boys were trained.
Right.
Trained
But
in America. Yes.
At that point, pre-war in Japan, they had a cultural idea of that they were the superior race.
Yes.
So it was I can't say the word. It's it's not pride, hubris. They just thought the war was a foregone conclusion, that they would win because they were the superior race on the planet.
Yeah.
The Japanese don't get a lot of credit for their racism the way the Nazis did.
Oh my God. They're very, yes.
And so
The rising sun.
But their military commanders warned the imperial leadership that this is a bad idea. You're not going to go fuck up the United States.
But wasn't that the craziest part about World War II is all the military was trained. So many of Japan's military was trained in the United States, and Japan,
Guess
like
where
the
all the
emperors,
Afghans who are in charge right now were trained. Yeah.
But it was like all the emperors were like, dude, we're going to attack the United States. And all of Japan, their military was like, bro, this is like, that's a direct quote. You woke a sleeping dragon.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, this is a bad idea. And then what happens? The Nazis were the worst of the worst. They all got to admit defeat. We fucking nuked Japan.
Yeah.
Like, we leveled them.
And that's another topic all in of itself. Like,
Those boys
fact that we-
deserved it.
yeah,
They were getting wild.
All these kids protesting like the Palestinian conflict over there with Israel and whatnot. Like, does anybody ever think about looking at what we did to Japan at the end of World War II? We dropped nukes on cities.
But look at Stalingrad.
what was-
But we killed more people with the napalm, like the fire.
we
campaigns.
firebombed Dresden and
Dresden,
fucking,
same thing.
Yeah, dude.
But everyone freaks out about.
And everybody's
nukes.
like, America, yay! Like,
It's
hang on a minute, let's think about this.
numbers are out of control.
The more you look at the empirical, like if you step back and you're like, oh fuck, it's like the Empire from Star Wars.
But doesn't that just go to show you, like, war has to stop?
Yeah.
But the
War has to
the
stop.
mass majority of people in the country are I would say patriotic for this country, and like America is great, but
Until it requires hardship.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a lot of people in America who are ready for hardship and have been fighting through hardship for a long time, right?
Yeah, we're getting close to forced into hardship anyway as the financial system crashes. Yeah. I don't think it matters who wins the presidency this fall. I think we're headed for like the control state will continue to creep forward because that's a function of the bureaucratic state. And people, people think, if Donald Trump, like we've talked about this before too, like this time, if we win this time and we get our 4 years, we're going to turn it all around. No, the fuck you're not. George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. Joe Biden, the control state creeps forward. It becomes more and more restrictive and oppressive.
Just the bureaucracy of the federal government.
It's
a freight train.
regulation after regulation.
It's
It's
a
just
freight
compounding. It's compounding regulations is what it is. People who enjoy the authority to enforce them.
JFK Jr. just said that like in one of his speeches, didn't he? Like
RFK.
RFK, sorry.
I like him.
I do and I don't.
What did he say? Basically, the freedoms that you give up will never be given back.
Yeah, you have to fight to get them back.
Yeah.
And
even if you think you gave it up temporarily.
I think that
that
people forget that, and understanding when everybody fights back is kind of a fucking. It's like
it's a game.
You're not allowed.
Game over right now.
You're not allowed to, right? You're not allowed to fight back. No shit.
Yeah, that's social programming.
Yeah.
It starts in kindergarten,
Yeah.
probably preschool. That hey, you're not allowed to fight back. We don't. What are kids told in school now when they get beat up by a bully? Don't fight back.
Come get a teacher.
Come tell the teacher. No, you fucking fight back.
This teacher better be a mercenary. 'Cause I want to kill this kid.
Yeah, that's what they call the fucking the bigger kid on the playground. They call him the teacher. Go get the teacher. Oh shit.
Pee break?
Yeah, pee break.
Pee break. China, Russia.
Right. So
Nitrocellulose.
nitrocellulose is what they use to make gunpowder, and the Chinese government is like the number one producers of this shit. So I believe they're going to quit selling to us or slow production down selling to us. But since the Russians invaded Ukraine, the export numbers have like gone from literally zero to like a fuck ton. So like I think in like 2019, they sold like 0.02 tons to Russia. And then the following year, nothing. And then when Russia invaded Ukraine, they sent them 700 tons. China sent Russia, or imported Russia 700 tons of that nitrocellulose, which is used for what do they call it? They call it like multi-purpose material or some shit. But
Firecrackers.
Yeah. So they basically, because they use it in like cosmetic stuff as well and like a bunch of bullshit. But let's be honest, what they're using it for is what they're using it for.
Well, gunpowder makes my eyes.
And China's
really
like, how dare you like tell us what we're because when the U.S. was like, hey, we don't appreciate you helping them out, right? They were like, we monitor what we're doing just fine and don't point the finger at us. It's like, you guys sold 700 tons of this shit to Russia. And then the following year, 1,300 tons. And as of May this year, they're at like 200 tons. So they're selling this pretty precious commodity for war to Russia, but they're also doing that thing where they're like holding Russia kind of under their thumb a little bit because they sell it to the U.S. and like other European countries for like $2 or something like that kilo, and they're selling it to Russia for like $4 because Russia's obviously in fucking
dire need.
So they're just kind of putting their fucking knee on their throat kind of thing and saying like.
So they're profiting off both sides.
They're profiting on both sides, but they're just being fucked.
It's a machine for profit.
But that's what we have done throughout the past. When we were an industrial society, we were the one that sold. We manufactured raw materials. We put them together. We sold to the entire world. We've now outsourced that. That's the same playbook we did. Yeah. But I love this road you're going down. Now, I want to ask you a question with these facts you're stating to me. Do you think the U.S. has pushed this relation harder of Russia into China? Do you think this is not only just, it's like, oh, these are two bad guys meeting up? Do you think we're demonizing certain people and pushing the bad guys into groups?
I'll say it like this. If the U.S. is in a relationship and they're going on a date, and they're friends with Russia, say, and whoever they're on the date with is friends with China, and
they're all into Japanese girls,
and all of a sudden, they go on not a double date, but they're spending time together. Eventually, what's going to happen is they're going to fuck. So China and Russia, that's what's happening. We're kind of forcing their hand a little bit, but at the same time,
into it though.
I don't think I think we're setting them up for the slam dunk. You know what I mean? Like,
but I feel they're still communist. And
they are
labeled.
You feel that way?
China is.
Okay,
do you think Russia is? They don't. I know it's an oligarchy and sort of a almost
they
like a
wanna
new
be.
feudal system. They're not
communist tendencies. And there's I think this last election or whatever, they played like
Putin got like 98% of the vote every
he
election.
He
gets like 99%.
It's also like they played the old Lenin or Stalin like theme songs of Russia, like their national anthems at the time. But that's what like I don't think it matters, but that's what national pride is, right? That's your community. This is who you were strong, who you were right before that moment. You were the people that defeated the Nazis. You stopped. So many people thought Hitler was the devil reincarnated, and so that's your group. That's your collective. But I don't think they've got some tendencies of that era, and their government works in that era. But it does kind of seem like there is more allowance of culture and like stand up a little bit in art, but not much. Russia kind of restricts a lot of stuff. Remember Pussy Riot?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
What? Yeah. There was a band. It was an all-chick band called Pussy Riot, and they were anti-Putin, and they became famous because he would shut them, or the government would shut them down when they're trying to play shows. And I don't know. They maybe did.
I don't think they had any good. They got popular in the U.S. for a little bit. I think for that reason. Yeah. I don't think they had any good music.
But China's more communist.
Jordan's gonna get an angry email now. Someone who loves Pussy Riot.
He's looking it up. Dude, don't play this. Turn the sound off before you play the videos. You start finding a Pussy Riot. No.
Yeah.
I'm sure the right ones are out there, but what you're going to find, right off the bat is not what we can play on this.
Okay, well, interesting.
So
because I've said some wild shit myself.
I need to push back a little bit, although I do kind of understand I like your analogy where they've been sort of forced together, but I don't see a lot of alignment between Russia and China.
I think not selling all those goods,
I don't even think
not learning a playbook of Taiwan after Russia's invaded Ukraine and nothing's happened.
I don't think Russia has global aspirations. I think China has global aspirations. I think that's the key difference. Russia is happy to sit in
Russia wants
its
to
boundaries.
Be left alone.
Exactly.
Yes.
They want to be isolationist, whereas
and
China wants to be the one true
over here
world
in Europe.
power.
Yes. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't think that their goals align all that well with each other, although they may have sort of agreed to ignore each other. Like, hey, we see what you're doing. Like, we'll leave you alone in Russia.
They align in saying that the West is assholes in stopping us from what we see is strong independence. They want to control our doorstep in the economic flow, especially when a place like China is
they're also
outpacing.
all tired. The American empire pushed like as much. I hate saying it because I am very patriotic and I love the country, but also we've gone around bullying the entire world for the last 70 years. And now they're starting to push back, and we need to sort of acknowledge what our mistakes so that we don't keep repeating them.
Let's make a Buick.
Yeah. And the fact is there's a whole lot of countries that want to push back against us right now for no reason other than they're tired of us putting our thumb on them.
Yeah, we have egg on our face for sure. In the global spectrum.
What were we going to say, Jordan?
Well, I mean, there was that video I showed you guys of that, was it the South African guy talking about all of the things that the U.S. has done and that, we need to be basically aware of what's happening in our own country.
I mean, look at us. Imagine if someone rolled armored vehicles down Main Street, Lake Stevens right now. We'd be down in my basement plotting like, all right, how are we going to fuck them up? Right. So allegedly. Allegedly.
How am I not going to get shot? Is my number one on my steno pad? How not to die.
Mike, step one, staying home.
Yeah. Burning pit.
Yeah, all right, guys. See you there later. Danielle said I can't go out tonight.
Sorry, Sorry guys. Sorry.
Baby, I love you.
I got a lot of shit I got going on, dude.
How hard it is to keep up a good lawn in the apocalypse?
The garden is just out of control right now.
But anyway, so we ran around the world driving armored vehicles through people's neighborhoods and knocking on doors at 2:00 in the morning on a whim. And now we expect everybody to be like, "Yay, America,
that
democracy!"
Wasn't cool?
It's like, dude,
I thought that was cool. We're cool.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
What president said that? The worst thing a government can say or a country can hear is,
trust me, I'm from the government. Or,
don't worry. The government's here to help you.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, all the little books that I read, as far as like apocalypse books and stuff like that, and these are all fiction.
Make apocalypse coloring books?
They do, and it's pretty fucking rad, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The Berenstein Bears eat one of them.
Yeah. He's not
The
one of
Berenstein's
us.
bear ate Ma.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to come up with a good one, and I can't right off the top of my head. You know.
No,
but
but
try and
Apocalypse
do a
books
cat
are
in a
good.
hat and fucking reference, but it
Dude,
didn't work.
that one series after, 1 second, 1 month, 1 year, the final, you know.
Well, the government's not there, and they kind of get their shit together, and then all of a sudden the government shows up, and they're like, "Whoa, who the fuck are you?" And then it's like, "We're the government." And it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, we've been doing this already, like surviving just fine, or not just fine, but get the fuck out, you know?
Well, that was kind of...
Because then it's like, at that point, what is the government? The government hasn't been around for how long? How long do you think it would take for the government to collapse, to us have to fend for ourselves, so to speak, with no commerce and use of the government?
You end up in a warlord situation
That's what I
really
mean.
fast,
Well,
because anybody who has leadership abilities, people are going to start being sort of sucked into them by their survival instincts, because people gravitate towards strong leadership as part of their like survival plan, basically their inherent survival plan. So really fast in a situation without law and order, I think warlords are like just popping up like little sprouts.
So how long does it take for that?
And how long does it take? But let's define like the dynamics, which is to me, they may not necessarily be fighting amongst each other, just controlling little, they might even be allied with each other. It's like almost like a feudal system, like Europe.
Tribal.
Yeah.
Townships start becoming like, oh, this township and that. But I mean,
Yeah.
how long before the government shows back up to where people are untrusting because of the collapse, and then how believable would it be that the government is truly the government and it's not just a group that is fucking swept through and been like, no, we are the
fucking
government.
Mongol horde.
We're the
We're
U.S.
the
government.
new government.
Yeah,
Where'd you come from? Everett.
yeah.
Right. And who know? And I actually liked. I'm glad you brought this up, Jordan. For the second, now you're on a roll here, brother. I like to think about the Wild West, right? So people moved out into the American West, like Wyoming and whatnot, where there was, native tribes, like nomadic tribes that would pass through, but there was nothing sort of semi-permanent, right? Like no structures. And so they set up their ranch houses, and then eventually like little towns would form basically as trading posts and whatnot. And then eventually there would be enough sort of people coming through the trading post. There'd be like a saloon and a hotel and a general store, and then there'd be crime. And then the people had to decide, do we want to hire a marshal, right? Maybe they ran posses of their own, like volunteers, like whenever there was actually someone to go after, the men would form a posse and go fucking string them up. And that's how you dealt with business, right?
In 1 second after they use the word posse.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then as the little trading post grows, then you have enough crime and enough businessmen who have an interest in lowering the crime, making it a more economically
Desirable.
friendly situation for them to conduct their trade. So now they kind of talk amongst themselves, form a quote unquote city council or trading post council, and decide to hire a marshal, and they all just contribute it out of their own pocket because it benefits their business. Mm-hmm. At some point that grows until you have more population and more civilization or more space.
Growth.
Yeah, and you end up in a place where...
Well, that's how cities were formed, yes.
Now you have city councils and massive city governments that tell you have to pay for them, or they're going to find... Like, you know what I mean? Like...
It's like paid protection, like a mafia.
Exactly.
You want to be
They
safe?
are telling me
pay
I
20
have
bucks.
to pay them.
Yeah.
The city
And I'm not
council-
allowed to opt out. I'm not allowed to say, you know what, I don't want to pay the federal tax
the city council
or the city tax. And they're saying, no, you have to, or our men with guns are coming to your house.
The city council back then was people were entrepreneurs and businessmen
Yes.
creating something, and they
Yes.
wanted to
Protect it.
So they were like, okay, let's all get together because I have this bank thing that I want to do here, and the other person has whatever lucrative fucking income or whatever they have. but they know that there's money to be made as long as we do this and we kind of do it somewhat right. So they're willing to pay for it, knowing full well that not everybody can. I see where you're going with that. But at some point, I'm sure in the frontiers days, they were like, okay, well, you got to have some sort of a tax here. Or you can live on the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
This guy, you can live on the outskirts, but
If
that's not our territory. But if you want to live within...
it turns into either a participation fee or a protection racket. One of the two or a mix of the two.
Mm-hmm. So do you look at that and go, okay, that's a better system as opposed to these city council men and women who are appointed by a vote that is misguided by ideology.
Yeah, there's not enough. The problem with our voting system is that America used to be mostly entrepreneurs and small business people.
I feel like a city council meeting in the Cowboy Times was much different.
Yeah.
That was more honest.
The average American is no longer an entrepreneur. The average American is a mid-level employee. Or low, or a minimum wage employee at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
They're adults doing that shit now.
Well, when companies get so big as there's somebody at this company is making minimum wage or just above, and somebody at the same company is making $50 million a year.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucking middle road there. You know what I mean? The vast majority, and that's not going to be a business of 4 people. That's going to be a business of 4,000 people. Yeah. So when that's the case, everybody's going to be landing in that middle of the road. And that's what's happening more and more. And that's why, like, the country is, I thought this whole fucking law against monopolies was a thing. Yeah. But I'm finding more and more that it just doesn't seem to be. I've never been on anything but a Boeing airplane or an Airbus, and the Airbus is somewhere else. And I've never ordered something on fucking, a different site than it was Amazon. You know what I mean? That's like so easy and quick and shop and da-da-da. Like Amazon, let's just be honest.
You don't remember bidding on things on eBay, then waiting 7 days to find out if you bought it or not?
I do not. I do not. eBay was coming up. I remember I got a pair of wrestling shoes.
Did I just buy a $3,000 mountain bike or did I not? I don't know.
I don't know. But I hope
find out next week.
Bid. Yeah. My dad, I remember I was in 10th grade or 11th grade. And I was like, those shoes are fucking sweet. And my dad was like, oh, you like those? And I was like, I like those. And he was like, okay. So we're at my uncle's and they have a computer because, 2007, we didn't have a computer. And, he fucking gets on eBay and makes an account and fucking buys me these wrestling shoes. And I was like, oh, fucking dad, you're the man.
Oh, yeah. My dad, same thing. My senior year, he bought me the Rawlings Gold Glove, like true rawhide baseball glove. Fucking love that thing.
Do you still have it?
No, my kids fucking lost it. Dude, I'm still like,
it's
all I can do. It's all I can do to not just.
Too early.
They were taking it to they kept taking all the baseball stuff over to the field. It's like, hey, make sure you bring everything home. And they're like, one of our old marital arguments was discipline and lack of accountability. And my baseball glove that my dad gave me disappeared. Fucking it makes me so mad.
Well, I think there's a movie about that.
Just a minute.
There's a big ass dog on the.
No, it's not. Just a minute.
Just a minute.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Kids are not responsible. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
It was autographed by Babe Ruth. I got a ball we can play with, boys.
So what were we talking about?
eBay was just dude, we got off. Yeah. We got off again.
This is hell of a Memorial Day commemorative.
Fly that flag, America.
Well, I mean, just it was monopolies and how the US has kind of just become this big monopoly. But that wasn't all I was trying to say. And
the
here
company.
we are.
Yeah. We're
The townships created by city councils and then
Cowboys
and
Yeah.
Western shit. And
I want to say I'm not sure
Yippee-ki-yay,
how I feel
boys.
about you bringing me plastic beer bottles in my house.
These
I
are
appreciate my mountains are still blue. I like that.
these are tin.
This is tin.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
I feel like I need the can
aluminum.
shape. Maybe I just need the can shape.
Yeah,
This is golf
I
course.
need the pop
beer.
top.
These are golf course.
Not
we
a
got
water
we got
bottle.
the twisties, boys.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
what they give you on the golf course. Sorry if I'm highbrow.
Yeah. Anyway, well, when it comes to, I'm just gonna hard stop.
Well, hang on, Mike. You sent us a couple of questions this morning by text. You want to read those?
Yes.
Do you want me to read them?
Yes, because I do not recall exactly. I was just thinking this.
What
War. It was Memorial Day, and I'm like, war. How does that affect us?
Do you feel like there's something people around you could have done when you came back to help you?
No, I don't think. I think it's lost generational knowledge. I don't think they knew what to do. I don't hold anybody responsible.
No. But is there something that you, having been through it, is there something you would do?
Yes.
What would you do for somebody who was coming back?
I am so glad to have been. Tyler took me out to one of his ceremonies 2 weekends ago, and I was there as his assistant. I wasn't like a in ceremony person.
Yeah, part of the cadre.
Exactly, assistant instructor.
Running safety.
Yeah. And I think these plants medicine ceremonies are having a massive impact. And the proof is kind of in the pudding. I hear more and more as you listen to various podcasts like Sean Ryan or Rogan or Andy Stumpf or there's a bunch of others. But everybody, it's all a bunch of people are having success with plant medicine, whether it's ayahuasca or psilocybin or MDMA. There's legitimate research coming out of both Johns Hopkins and Harvard Med School that are backing it up, and the positive effects that it has on your nervous system and on your brain and on your processing ability. All these things that get kind of fucked up by both the actual direct effects of explosions and blasts and even gunfire, like heavy caliber gunfire and at close range. You're getting a little mini blast wave through your noggin every single time. And then also just the emotional baggage that you carry.
Yeah.
Right. It's I think this is specific to psilocybin. It does what they call it a reset of the default mode network.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I think we forget that our fight or flight is activated, and it runs at a low level all the time. And then that becomes your default mode, is ready to fight now, ready to fight. Remember what I was saying, half the time we're driving around Mosul, which is a dangerous ass city, just two of us, just me and another guy in a sedan. And it's I almost wish they would shoot at us so we could just fucking get the fight over
You're
with.
a deer.
But until then, yeah, exactly. You're running around with your fight or flight going, okay, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? Look left, look left, look left, look left, look up, look up, look up. Where are they going to shoot from, right? And so you probably don't really ever turn that off at some point. And so that default mode is that activation of fight or flight. And it helps you sort of switch that back to neutral.
Yeah. It restarts. It's neuroplasticity or whatever they want to call it. But it's it resets everything. It allows kind of a restart.
Do you think low levels of psilocybin, like microdosing, can give you a similar effect?
Yeah,
because I can't speak to that. I can tell you a macro dose will do it.
I don't think you have to macro. I mean, if you want to, yes, and if you're at that point, you can. But I think if you're looking to dabble, it's.
I would say microdosing is better than not trying anything at all. Yeah. Why not try?
Still, you feel it. You feel it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
With a microdose?
Yeah.
Think, could you imagine? This is that would be a nice day. I'm looking at this cat out here on the lake, and he's just fishing. If that guy had just a nice little microdose going,
he probably does. He probably does.
And just out there catching,
living life,
catching whatever, just fishing. you know,
Or
catching
you
some
have a
crappies.
small microdose watching him fish. And you're like, it's okay, he's fishing, and it's okay, I'm sitting here. And you're just happy.
Maybe he's
and
not
you're
even fishing.
resetting
Maybe
your
this is
brain.
your mind
Yeah.
telling you that your mind is seeing you out there fishing.
Well, that's what you do, right? You put yourself in a situation because you go, you know how nice it would be just to be fishing right now. And I'm sitting here, not to say
Stuck
this
with
isn't
Kozak.
nice, not to say this isn't amazing.
I am a good fishing partner. I'm going to put that out there right away. I may be one of the best fishing partners.
Greg will not stop singing your praise as a fishing deckhand.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's like, hey, try me out. You know what I mean?
He's stuck. No, he's
like,
it's Kozak
dude,
for life on his boat.
I can tie knots, dude. I can tie knots, bro.
I'm his bottom bitch.
Yeah, dude.
I'm the boat bottom bitch, dude.
Yeah, you need a mid deck guy or what? You
Yeah,
know?
we got a bottom deck.
Yeah, let me get in there, dude. I mean, what do you need, dude? I'm a snack guy.
Shit,
I just went fishing.
I brought cheesesteaks.
Yeah, exactly. I got a grill. We're set, dude.
He's always been really nice to me about fishing. He's like, you're really good at fishing on a boat. Dude, I've just done it on my own. So
I love being on boats, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, you need help? And he's like, you're a whiz. It's like, what? Oh, man.
That is one thing about Greg that he does a good job of is like he believes in you in everything in any crazy aspect. But that's part of his draw, right? Like he like he'll believe in you and what you're doing. So like with jiu-jitsu and me and competing, like he just like gives me this fucking energy of like, I believe you're gonna do this, or like, yeah, no, and he talks you up and makes you feel like you're a fucking monster, and then all of a sudden you go out there and fucking place at some crazy tournament, or like, oh, I'm good at this fucking fishing shit. Yeah, dude, I'll fucking rig those up, no problem. Like, we'll figure this out. You know what I mean? So like to have people in your corner, and that's what, again, we always talk about how great the gym is, but that is what we get a lot from a lot of more than just Greg at the gym. A lot of people give us that, which is, I think, why this is becoming more and more and more of a thing, and kind of a tight-knit group of people that you can kind of rely on. Because we have that, you know, and people are into what you're into for the sake of you're getting enjoyment out of it. Mm-hmm. So they're willing to support it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I blacked out there. What was it? Yeah. So microdosing.
Japanese.
So
are
coming
racist.
coming back from, what is it that people could do for you? Yeah. Fucking.
Oh, what could we be doing better for veterans returning?
Yes.
I think the VA needs to take a hard look at plant
VA's
medicine.
broken.
That's obviously my bias. The VA is very broken. They're under the Western medicine system where it's like, hey, just give them pills, give them pills, give them pills.
No.
And really, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to go away and shut up. They're not the doctor that graduated top of their class at fucking Johns Hopkins, so they're looking to skate through. They just want to get the fuck out of there. The nurses don't
good
want to
and
be
bad
there.
doctors, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but it's once again
There's probably
just
I'm sure there's a
a
bunch in there
government
that are trying
program that
hard.
is not well run.
A show called The Good Doctor.
Yeah, there's good people in every organization,
and no
but it's not a
bureaucracy runs
well-run.
well.
Yes,
And so it's a fuck show. And really, I think they've fucked up more people than they've helped, because if you go in there with PTSD symptoms, what they're just going to prescribe, they're just going to prescribe pill after pill after pill, sometimes stacking. Hey, if this one doesn't work, we'll stack this one in there, then we'll try this one, we'll try this
put you
one.
on some sort of a list.
And these guys end up on the couch with a fucking bottle full of pills and a bottle full of whiskey, and then they eat their pistol.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's no, I think that talk therapy is huge, and plant medicine helps with that. Like, it facilitates it. Another
Breaks
effect,
down walls
yes.
where honesty can be
an
more
effect of
easily
psilocybin
achieved.
that I can vouch for is that it separates you from your ego to do exactly what you're saying. When you no longer you step away from your ego and you go, oh, I don't care what other people think about
Truth
me.
helps.
You can be very honest with yourself about the fuck ups you've made.
Yes.
And once you address those and you sort of like feel like you have those under control and you've atoned for them and you've apologized and whatnot, you just sort of get to like shrug them off, because that is how you alleviate that. And that's another massive benefit of psilocybin.
Yes.
So then the next thing I was going to say is, I honestly think people need to partake of some sort of coming home ceremony, and not some bullshit hey, we're going to stand you out in formation and pin some medals on your chest, because that's just empty It's a little bar of ribbon that doesn't mean shit.
This should be a
Right.
kissing booth for soldiers coming home.
Just a blow booth.
It's a bunch of
No,
dudes.
it needs to be more like the elders in the community, whether that, even if that's your military unit. I think they need to go a little more tribal. Like, it needs to be around a fire, and it needs to be like,
Yeah, but it needs everyone. Like you said, the reason you're fighting for is the women, the children,
Yes.
the ability to have school, to have
And maybe-
these
hang on.
moments.
And that
so
might-
you need your community embracing
yes,
you.
that might touch on the most important thing, is that we need to be fighting for community. And if we're not passing that crucible of
Yeah.
why are we fighting, if it's not for our family, and honestly, if it's not for the people you love, then you should not be involved in that fight. And if you can't honestly come up with a reason why you are fighting because you love someone or something, then it's probably the wrong reason.
But doesn't that give you inspiration into like, God, it'd be awesome to have a city where it's like, I will fight for every member of this city. Like a small community where everyone works hard.
That's what a tribe is,
They
bro.
have, but like a tribe is like 200 people. Could you imagine having
12.
5,000 people? Like a city where you're like,
that's,
I love these
isn't
citizens.
Isn't it
around me.
wild to see a fucking football team that goes and wins the Super Bowl championship and the admiration they get when they come back?
Oh,
from
the
playing
whole
a
town pours
from
out.
playing a game.
Yeah.
And
Imagine if it
I
were
think-
actually a struggle of life and death, and think about, like, the community would welcome people back. And it's not about being slapped on the back. Again,
No,
it's
it's
about,
about
that's why you need
knowing
that. It's
we
about
have-
actually
we
sharing
have your back.
Well, not just knowing we have your back, but all the burden of the bad parts of war, the trauma of war. We're gonna take a night, and we're all gonna sit around this fire, and we're gonna go talk to God, and we're going to share in that pain that everybody brought home.
Yeah.
Because it's about, when I'm telling you, when you're in the medicine, you feel
Yeah.
other people. You feel what they are feeling.
You take it away.
You don't take it away, but you acknowledge it,
No, you can take
Or-
it.
or you can share it.
People absorb it and people release it.
because it belongs to the entire community. It doesn't belong to just the 100 to
That's-
200 warriors who went to war. It belongs to the community that required safety.
That's the energy that, like,
And that's
I was-
that's energy healing.
that the balancing out of energy.
Yeah.
When you walk into a room and you a high energy person and a low energy person will walk out of that room being like a little bit, one will be drained and one
equalized.
will be
Yeah.
lifted up. That is what would happen
Yeah.
if you took the time with those people and with a group, a tribe, a city, and made. Could you imagine a giant city bonfire, like where there's people there,
Just a mass block party.
Like 5,000
specifically,
people.
specifically
Yeah.
to remember, like to for the people that are the 25 people that are that fought in that town. If a town was like, hey, we're gonna have a fucking huge bonfire for you, there's gonna be some food, there's gonna be this, there's gonna be that, but we are here for you, and this is about you, and tonight is your night, and we want to hear what you experienced. We want to feel that. We want you to unburden yourself with those things and allow yourself to open up to us and let us, like you said, carry a little bit of that weight and let the negative energy you're feeling, spread that among a tribe, and nobody's going to feel the difference.
Yeah.
But you will.
Yeah.
You might get lifted up fucking 100%, 90%, but the group as a whole
Yeah.
can handle that burden, and that's what needs to happen.
Well, that's where I feel there is like inherent feelings of the past like that, like with a thing like Burning Man, like where you get a bunch of people together and what do? They get together collectively in the desert, and the last night they have a huge fire for an effigy, and they're all meeting there for a reason. But it's not that reason of war or hardship or struggling together. There's a little bit of it. We all had to make this trip. We all had to get an RV and get this spot, but it's a bunch of people hanging out in the desert. No, but that's
I've heard
Look at,
very
like-
similar stories about Burning Man to that, and people
But
are
also, like-
are like, this was an amazingly beautiful experience.
yes, but also rave communities and things like this where you get huge mobs of people together and collectively
Sure, that
there is a
collective energy,
transfer of
when it
energy.
resonates.
But the problem is what we have today is that war has gotten taken out of that. Maybe that's a huge thing of the collective. Like when you celebrate a
down.
huge
when
win,
you get a world war going, you can drag the vibrations down.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
But when you get a huge win, you come back and you celebrate and you help those who fought for what you were allowed
but
to.
Do you get it? Hang on. If we're talking about this in the context of, we also know that the banks fund both sides of wars, like the big banks like Lehman Sachs and Bank of America and
but I'm just saying
Rothschilds, the major federal, and really it's the Federal Reserve banks and the central banks of the world who benefit from war. So if we're constantly
energy doesn't dissipate, it moves.
Well, so what I'm saying is,
so somebody is celebrating that, and we just need to take it from them.
Well,
it's the big bank motherfuckers, guess what? We need to take it from them.
Right. But if you're the type of person who lives off of bringing vibrations down, what better way to bring an entire society's vibrations down, their energy down, than by starting a massive war?
A war that you win, vibrations will be
and so
up.
my point is, there's no, like,
lose.
you're talking about coming back from victory. I don't think there's a victor.
But we started losing
the
wars in
the victor
70s,
is who's ever drawing
60s.
up all that energy that's being spent on the battlefield.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that goes to the very highest levels. All that human energy being fucking broken apart on the battlefield, it all goes somewhere.
Interesting. And a lot
so
of
who's
those
fun,
battles
so,
were a lot of those battles were fought over gold. And and a lot of those battles were fought over monetary value.
I think they were fought
for
to
some
get
fucking
the countries
thing.
To take out loans.
Well, they were fought to get the bottom line. Is there's a
the Rothschilds lend to both sides.
We're going to put
in World
value.
War One.
Yeah,
that's where they learned.
What were we talking about in the very
highly
beginning
profitable.
Of all this?
Yeah,
or, sorry, no, it's
50-50.
Napoleonic Wars.
It's the aliens.
Rothschilds funded it, and then they funded both sides of it, and they realized that having entire populations in debt is far better than having a single business or single person in debt. So by loaning to countries, they put entire populations into their debt. And that's why we have a national debt. Like, continue that on through World War I, World War II, into the modern era. Now we have our entire country, our national debt is it's shared among, they put us in debt. Did you sign for it? Did you sign for the national debt, Mike? No,
yeah, but I got to
escalate
out of it.
No, you didn't. Your government indebted you to the Rothschilds to pay for war. And they continue to do it right now.
Well, yeah.
They signed you into debt.
But if they're like, hey, man, we're coming to collect that debt, I don't expect China to be like,
I got $13 in a joint in my pocket.
Here you go.
Take it.
But that's why you only have $13 in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's because you were signed into debt as a population. You didn't get a chance to say no or yes.
You got $300 in your savings account, but you go to work 40 hours a week for the last fucking 15 years, and you got $300 in your savings account. That's why. Because we get taxed and fucking things taken constantly at a ridiculous rate.
Or the inflation, the same thing. When the Fed printed more money to send it to Ukraine.
You want to run a stop sign? Yeah. You're not going to go to a class for a day and learn remedial fucking stop sign driving. You're going to fucking pay a ticket. That's it. You pay a ticket. No big deal. Yeah. Pay a ticket. Hey, you fucked up. Let's pay a ticket. Pay some money. Pay some money. Just pay some more money. Pay money. You want to fucking murder somebody? Just pay some money. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, and then they go, oh, you can't pay?
Yeah.
You can't pay?
No, you're in trouble.
We're going to put you in prison.
All right. So back to the war machine. But hang on. This is an important point for people to understand right now with everything going on in the world, is that for the first time, banks were able to indebt entire populations with one signature. And they did that through funding war. Prior to that, you gave loans to individuals or private entities, and you indebted that individual
but how
or
do
that
you
entity.
Indebt
When
the
you take
people?
when
You're indebting the government, not the people.
Who funds the government, retard?
Yeah. But like, if, like I said,
Jesus
if China,
Rothschilds.
No.
Joe Biden opens his checking account and writes that.
But like I said,
when
if China's like, I really want my money, they're not going to come and hang me upside down by my ankles. They're going to, and how do they get that money back from the United States? I know I'm indebted, but like I said, I still have the ability to work in this country to pay those taxes to pay it back.
you sound like you're happy about it.
No, yeah, because China ain't knocking on my doorstep. They're knocking on Biden.
They do.
Which
No, they're
eventually
knocking on
knocks
your
on
they're
mine.
they're knocking on your fucking door every Friday when you get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're knocking
Just more taxes.
heavily.
So you're saying this is a good question. What happens if, let's say, the bank of whatever,
Because they've bought in so much
If
of
we
our
go
debt.
bankrupt,
Yeah.
If we just say fuck it,
Actually, it makes their dollar useless immediately. Like
So we all crumble.
they could crash the dollar tomorrow.
Yeah.
By calling
We all
in all
crumble
their debt.
then
Yes,
together.
and then your financial system breaks down. You have a breakdown of rule of law.
And then you have Great Depression.
Yes,
But did we have breakdown of rule of law and Great Depression?
I think
More
the
crime,
dollar
I'm
never
sure.
bottomed out, though, did it?
I mean, you had Hoovervilles. You have people living in
Yeah.
Cars City. Like the
I don't know.
RVs in
That was also
Seattle.
1920s.
Different
or 1930s. Yeah,
mentalities.
exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine the blue hairs downtown who think that they are. It's actually a human right to have their soy mocha chocolate every morning, and if they don't get remember, did you see this chick talking to the press report when they were occupying the building at Columbia, and she's like,
it
we
was
demand
perfect.
that pizzas be brought in. They're like, why don't you just leave and go get food? She's like, because we don't want to be violently starved or something. It's like violently, just fucking leave, bitch.
Yeah,
The
walk
whole
to the
point
cafeteria, you
of this
dumb
is
bitch.
supposed to be a sacrifice.
Yeah, take
so
over the
don't complain
cafeteria
about
next time.
sacrificing.
Oh.
But the point is, the people with that kind of mindset, good luck in a Great Depression situation.
Oh, yeah.
The people that the Great Depression happened to last time were loggers and fur trappers and gold miners, and people are used to kind of scrapping it out on their own a little bit.
Yeah, the roughnecks.
People are not. I'm not sure they're capable of scrapping it out on their own these days. Jordan,
Well,
hear me.
It also depends on where you are and where you're scrapping it out. It's tougher. I mean, to be downtown Seattle scrapping it out, or a rural area where you're a little bit more self-sufficient and reliant.
I was just reading the technology once book on the Amish. They'll do all right.
Yeah,
they
fine.
still rely on outside resources, but
For the most
the
part.
closer you are to a hunter gatherer, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. Also, like you said, look, hunter-gatherer tribes, like primal societies,
They won't even know.
The Amazon, not a clue.
Yep.
Amish and them repopulating,
They'll feel
which
it,
will be
but
weird.
they'll have an easier time
hot
adapting.
children mixed together with beards down there, but
I think
ready
there's
for
We
tomorrow.
need a visual to go along with that.
people if that happened, what do they rely on outside sources for?
Certain like nails.
They run a lot of shit off diesel, and even the things they make out of metal, they're still buying ingots. Right?
Yeah, but you don't think that they
I don't think they
would-
can cast steel.
No, you don't. But do you think they would have to use steel? And there's
nice.
They don't have to, but they do.
Yeah, but they
They
do
use diesel.
I
They
would.
use,
because
Wouldn't
they're-
you?
they use solar panels.
Okay, but they're doing that.
Do you
to
not want a
participate.
knife?
They're doing that to.
Do you not want a knife, Jordan?
I do
Hey,
want a
answer
knife.
the question,
I
Jordan.
do. I do. And if I was going to look for ingot, I would simply take a magnet and go to the
Start
beach,
digging
and I would gather
until I found ingots.
a bunch of iron, and then I would hammer said iron in a hot fire, and then I would make my own ore.
Do you think
So-
Amish think magnets are like the devil?
Black
Yeah.
magic.
Like it attracts metal to metal. That ain't right. Yeah. The Lord said only one way, and that's the metal way.
No, I think basically what I'm saying is I think that the Amish are participating in the Western culture system, right?
Yeah.
That, and that's why they're doing it. But
Yeah.
don't you think that they also understand how to make a fucking sickle?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't you think that they go, oh, you know what we need to do is
need
plow
some
that
steel.
field?
Yeah.
Let's fucking think of how we can plow that field. Their first thought is not, well, you'll get gas and you put gas in that. Or they go, you get out there and you fucking work.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, and that they're closer to that mindset as a group than a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the US live that like, oh, if you're gonna go to work, well, first thing you do is you wait for your alarm to go off. Yeah. And then so that's got to be charged, and because it's your cell phone, and then you get up and then you go start your coffee and get in your car and make sure your car has gas, and then you drive for 20 miles, and then once you get to work, then you jump on your computer, and that's not fucking reality.
Yeah.
That's so far out of fucking reality that you are in the fucking matrix. Like, the reality is I need to eat and drink. What do I need to do that? I need to go and grow something. And they're so much closer to that, like, lifestyle. So they would do far better in an apocalyptic situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys meant that, and I took my headphones off and walked away for a second. Got a little, but
also think of jungle people.
Yeah, I mean,
like people of the Amazon that are really not in touch with man and survive out there. Dude, completely fine. What apocalypse?
Yeah.
It's going to get better for them.
I was just going to say,
fishing,
the water tastes fresher now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, they'll actually benefit. But they're just geared towards that lifestyle where we're geared.
Again, the closer you are to hunter-gatherer, the better you're off you're going to be.
You know how we did that book on time travel? Isn't that a little bit of time travel? In this current time, we have two different groups of people living in different eras of time. Even though we're in one time constant, that's two different, completely, like, separated by 300, 400 years in time.
I have a different idea.
Do you think that's why?
I'll share it with you another time.
Okay.
Do you think that's why, like, the kind of leftist people like are against
fucking Pelosi?
Well, they're against guns and hunting and fishing, and like they're kind of against your.
They have no they have no context. They grew up in the city.
Yeah, but do you think that is part of the whole ploy is to like
and they've been
make
told that
people
you're
more
scary.
reliant?
Oh yes, 100%. Yeah, dependence.
Yeah.
When you create a dependent, that person, like, my kids are not free. Even though I would, when Nathan's being ornery, I'm like, yeah, go live somewhere else, and he's like, I will. I'm like, all right, bye,
good luck,
because I know.
Yeah, you still got.
He is dependent on. Like, I don't need to go chase him down the driveway. He's dependent on me for food, so he's not actually free. It's the goal of parenthood is to make them to the point of self-confidence and competence
that he can leave,
that he can be free. But until then, it's very apparent that he's not free. Like I said, there's an invisible leash that is, he requires me to survive. And so as people become more and more accustomed to grocery stores and water that just fresh water comes from the faucet. What are you talking about? That's where it comes from. And I literally printed it out and put it on the wall in my office. That meme of the dude wearing like Carhartts and a flannel shirt, and it says, I am so glad I don't have to actually hunt. I have no fucking clue where gluten-free tacos live. Because that's where urban society has gotten to. And if they had to serve, like there would be some people, because people are crafty. At the end of the day, human beings are crafty.
Certain
and some people would they'd figure out how to trap rats, and they'd figure out how to trap dogs and cats and
city
shit, and pigeons.
Bushcraft?
Yeah, dude.
City bush
could be a whole urban bushcraft.
Yeah,
dude. I have this is going to be wild.
Jordan's been writing a book.
Oh, funny you talk about that.
I've been taking pictures. Yeah. I should make some sort of a flip book, because
hell yeah.
On my walks from
the
the parking garage, like up to my job site's a half a mile.
Yeah.
And in that half a mile, I take pictures of like the homeless people structure, like where they're laying up. Like I just take pictures of people high as fuck.
Hey, hang on. And speaking of people who are free, they aren't paying taxes.
No.
They aren't paying you think they got a permit to build that fucking shanty? Fuck no. You think they got Department of Ecology come in there and make sure that they're not bleeding off into a water right of way?
Yeah, they're chemical.
Yeah, they are not
yeah.
Despite the fact they're living in squalor and shit, there's a part of me that envies how free they are.
They're because you could do the same thing in the woods.
Yes.
Like you could have the Gucciest fucking
hang
pack
on.
and all the other
You
shit.
could do the same thing as an entire township.
Oh shit.
That's the idea that gets you on an FBI watch list.
It gets you
is
taken-
that
Well,
an entire city can say
But before
no.
we leave this urban bushcraft, I have literally seen homeless people trapping rats. Like I watched a dude like set a trap line of this homeless guy had fucking what are those rat traps? The wooden ones with the metal.
Just a snap.
The old fashioned.
Yeah, the old fashioned.
The old Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, yeah. So he set down a couple Tom and Jerry number 2s.
Yeah.
And he literally, I watched him walk around and he set fucking like 4 traps up and like straight up on the sidewalk, and then like kind of like in by some bushes, and like he set up a fucking trap line of trying to catch rats. And I don't know if he was planning on eating those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Probably
But
getting into a shit.
nevertheless, the guy is fucking setting. Well, but it was like,
It might just be anti-hobo traps.
who knows? No,
Toe
dude.
poppers.
Little toe poppers.
We got one.
Ay, ay, ay!
Grab the weapons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was wild to me when we were walking. I was
Yeah.
like, this motherfucker setting up a trap line.
Hobo, dude, what's that security service? ADT?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
just like hobo security, ADT. They're like, we're going to set up all these rat traps around your dam. You're like, thanks, boys. I feel much safer now.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That goofy little shotgun shell thing we fired off at turkey camp.
Well, yeah, because that was a real shotgun. But dude, I feel like mine might be a little louder.
I want to put the flashbang round in it and see if that
Oh, yeah.
does what it's advertised to do.
Because I have 209 primers, right? And mine goes off of 209 primers.
Yeah, and those are those gun club rounds that are meant to be like soft recoil, and they're light load.
Yours were? Yeah.
That shot shell that I fired off.
Yeah, as opposed to like a fucking
like
real
a buckshot round.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. Like,
Something heavy.
Yeah,
because that wasn't quite as loud as I was expecting.
yep. It was anticlimactic.
Check out our Instagram if you're wondering what we're talking about.
Is it on there?
our turkey hunting trip? Yeah, I think I put it on there.
You can't see what the
We
fuck's
say
going
for
on.
science, and he pulls it.
Pop.
Like, all right, cool. Glad I stood 50 foot back for this.
It's going to get 7 likes. Yeah. That's
So worth it, bro. Yeah. So worth it.
page is taken off, boys. Is that it for Memorial Day?
I think so. Before we hang up, I want to say a couple names, friends who were killed in the War on Terror. And I'll just go ahead, because I do believe in the notion that, you guys ever heard the saying that a man dies twice, once when he dies and a second time when people stop saying his name?
When he's forgotten.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to remember people and their names and who they were. So my friend, one of my best friends, Ricardo Barraza, Dale Brem, Jay Blessing, and then John Edmonds, and then my ranger buddy Luke Petrick, who did not die in the service but died later as a contractor when his helicopter was shot down. It's good to take a minute and just hear their names and remember that, regardless of, we rail against the sort of the machine and the control state, but these were people just like us who fought for an ideal. And yep, we were young and naive, but our hearts were in the right place when we were over there. So I appreciate anybody who takes a moment for those guys. I guess I'll end it right there. Good night, bitches.
Happy Memorial Day.